Hey there, it's Boots Owen here. This is my Bosch WFF1800 washing machine. It's got bad bearings after, well, I've had it for 8 years and it's been in use for a lot longer than that. I'm just pushing up and down, or pushing up on the tub inside, or the drum inside the tub. You can hear that rattling noise. That's a sign of bad bearings, that the shaft is loose. It could also be a sign of a bad spider, but I don't believe it is in this case. I think it's the bearings. Let's have a listen to it spinning. Because it'll be completely taken apart for the bearings, I need to get the water out of it. So with a flat screwdriver, I open those twists and pop that down and lift that out. And then in here, if I reach in, there's a hose on this machine. And drain that into a bowl. And that's it drained down. And put this plug back in. The plug is a big, long, flexible thing in case it gets full of soap suds, so you can agitate it to open it up. I don't know if I'll open that drain plug. There might be a drop more water in there. I guess I should, just so that we're working nice and clean. Put a cloth in here and twist this out. This one's particularly stiff, so I just need to use a bit of brute force, I think. There it is. If you try and use pliers on these things, sometimes it backfires on you. There's a tiny bit of fluff come out, but there's a bit of string on that plug. But overall it's very clean. And that's because I was in here a few weeks ago cleaning it out to get a wipe that was stuck in it. So I'll screw that back up. To get the top off, it looks like you need to take out these two screws here, but I think in fact underneath these little covers there's a couple of Torx screws. My fingernail might get in, but a knife I know is easier, or a little pin tool. And it pops off and there's a Phillips head in here, and the same on the other side. Then with those screws out, the top should just lift up and lift off those hooks in the back. Maybe it won't. So it turns out I do need to take out these screws as well. Then I need to get this fascia off, and there's 3 screws in here. They're all Phillips head screws so far on this machine, but on more modern machines, especially Bosch, they can be Torx screws. And then this, I think, slides to the right. It clips off. And I think there's a pin there. I think it just has to be popped off using force, which is always a bit scary. Yeah. So with a flat bladed screwdriver, just ease it out. Always a bit scary. It's held in place with these little plastic pins. That's it. Gently pull, try not to crack the plastic. There we go. And you've got a cable connector in there. So for now I'll just set it up on top. So I've released 2 screws down on the bottom on each side. And then the bottom just pulls out and the whole thing slides down a little bit. Now before actually, I think what I need to do, open the door. Should have taken off this rubber seal here. So if you reach around somewhere, there'll be a spring. So you see that spring there? Get a screwdriver under it, under one side, and hook it out. And hook that wire off all the way around. So the wire off, then you can pull off this rubber. Then the fascia will be sure to follow. So we've got to remember there's wires and a cable attached on this machine. Just a cable, in fact. No, wires as well. So the thing to do might be to open the door again and disconnect this here. Make life easier. There we go. That's the front off. Then to get the rubber seal off here, we've got to get this screw here off. It is possible to get it off from here with a flexible tool. It is possible to get it off without taking off the ballast with a flexible tool, so let's try that. So it has a Phillips head in there, believe it or not, and if I can get this in, yeah, that's it. You can just loosen it up like that. It's quite awkward to do. And there is a socket head on it as well, so it might be loose enough to come out by hand now. Or not. Yeah, I can do it by fingers. You need to loosen it right all the way off. And there's another metal band in here then. It's that, if you can't do that, you have to take the ballast off, and it's also relatively easy to do, but it's just another step in the process. So, once you're near the end, just slide that down, and this hoop should come off, like that. That's it, it's loose. This machine's slightly different to some others in that it has this hose thing on top here that can deliver some water, I don't know where from, down into the top face. So you just need to get that clip off like I did and pull that down. Then with the wire off, you should be able to pop this off. Just grab it, lift it off, and just pull it off all the way around. And there's a bit of water in the bottom of it, so I'll be careful with that. I'll keep this little clip aside. There we go. That's the old seal off, and you can see all the wrinkles there on it. So I've taken the door seal off because I need to replace that anyways. I mightn't have done that, and I'm just looking at it thinking, how do I get the drum out? The front on this machine comes off. There's 4 snaps around it, so you've got to kind of flick them out, and I'm wondering, can I do that with the ballast in place? Because if I can, it makes it very easy. Then I just need to take off the back panel, and it might be possible to replace the bearings with the tub still in the machine, which would be excellent. I think I'm just going to go for it. These clips are difficult to see. These clips are difficult to see, but it looks like I can get them out. If I just get in there. Let's see. There we go, and they just come off like that. So, can I get them all off? Oh, soap drawer needs to come out of the way. I don't know if I need to take that out really. Let's see. What's holding this on? There we go. Okay. Now that inlet pipe sits in there, so I need to watch out for that. But I can get access here. Just slapped my fingernail, so it's good to wear gloves. It's kind of tough in here. There must be one more over here. There we go. So let's get that out of the way. This should just pull off. Should. Famous last words. There we go. Right. And that's it. Door off. There's a load of screws holding the back on. So lift out this thing and slide it this way. Okay, right, that's difficult. Okay, then it lifts off. That's a weird nut. Not seen one like that before. Let's get this belt off. So it looks like there's a cover on this nut. Yeah, there is. I've never seen that before in a washing machine. So I have to get this nut off. And looking down here, there's a lot of rubber dust on the floor. The belt is filthy, but it feels quite good. It seems fine. A bit strange that. A lot of dust, so I'll give that a vacuum out. A lot of dust around there. I'm also going to check the motor brushes while I'm in here, just because I can. Give that a bit of a vacuum. I want to get this screw off, and then the drum should just pull forward, and that'll leave me with the bearings to see here. 13mm spanner, screwdriver like that. I'm just going to lift it up now. Maybe I need to push it down. This metal edge is sharp. Put some gloves on. There it is. There's the pulley. So this should just pull out now. So this all looks very good, a testament to these older machines. That's where the water seal goes on there, I think. That's where the bearing goes on, and that's where the other bearing goes on there. So it's all in really good condition. The only thing that's a bit weird is this kind of crusty snot in here, which I'll dig out. Other than that, the spider seems in good condition, so there's no cracks or damage there, which means it's a job worth doing, and it probably is the bearings. There's the bearing on the back. It would be too simple for it just to pull straight out. Let's have a look inside. Looking inside, there's a bit of stuff stuck on the element there. No big deal. Just pick that off. It's a remarkably clean machine, but there is something up here, like almost like tissue paper, but it could be tissue paper, but I don't know why there'd be tissue paper in here. So I might clean all that out. There's a temperature probe there, and I think there's maybe another temperature probe. No, that isn't there. So, a strange machine this doesn't have a temperature probe on the element. Bit of dirt around there. Oh dear. Okay, hadn't anticipated that. To get this bearing and seal out, I have to take this tub off the spider, so it's compressed between the spider and the steel tub. So I do have to take it out after all. That went from being a simple job to being a slightly more complicated job. So I've got to get this thing here. Out. That's a bit of a pain. So at the back of the machine, looking in underneath, I've got to get the shock absorbers off. This one's got a screw on top there from the front, but on this side it's coming from the back. So that's one side. I'm going to try and get this shock absorber out and push it over out of the way there. I'll do the same on the other side. Then there's a couple of things to unclip, like these hoses. And I could do it on the drum side, but I think it's easier to do it at this end. This one here comes off here. There's a bit of water in this one. There it is. Lovely. There's a couple of cables on the sensor right in here. There's a couple of cables on this temperature sensor right in underneath, and so there's a little bit on the back that shouldn't snap off like that, but it does. And then I've got to cut these cable ties, unless I can get these little things out. I think I might be able to get them out somehow, can I? I should be able to get them out somehow. So that's half of it out. And I'll wiggle it on to try and pop the rest of it out. They have a little fitting like this, and you've got to squeeze in these points. They don't really want to squeeze, but they will. Get that out of the way. So I've got that off, got to get the motor off. We might be nearly there then. There's an inlet valve over here at the back as well. So over here there's like an inlet overflow. Gotta get that off too. And then it's just the motor. I better take the motor off completely. Oh, I don't have. Yeah, I will eventually, because it holds. It's in the way. Okay, so let's get this off. So there's another hose over here. And that's most of the drum done, just the motor next. So I need to get the motor off. Down here there's a bolt. And there's another one from the other side that I've got to get off. And there's the one from the other side. And then I need to unclip the earth, lift that up, unscrew this, and then it should slide. And I think I need to get the cables off first. There's always another thing. They're cable tied on. So I need the cutters. Cable ties off. So unhook the cable block as well. There, the motor swings free, comes down, out. Oh, there's the motor out. Big brute. There's more cables to unclip here. See what we were doing at all. There we go. There's more cables to unclip on the element, purple and black. There we go. The cover can stay on, and there's an, well, it can stay on or come off, it doesn't matter. And then there's an earth below and another cable tie. I'll get this earth off. There we go. Now there's just this pressure sender hose here going up to the pressure thing up on top. So I'll take that hose off from the pressure thing up above and tuck it in. We're nearly there. I think we're nearly there. So I think we're completely disconnected all the way around. Oh, it sounds bad. So it's just a matter of getting these springs off. I just need to bring this up as high as possible. Down here I'm trying to get this spring out, and it's, there we go. And one last one in here. This is when it pays to have a clean workplace, and you're sorry you don't. Get pliers on it, twist it out. Come on. There we go. Right. Whew. So, will it come out? Oh, there we go. So, getting somewhere, a few screws that are really tight. That's not coming off, that's just ringing off. Dear, oh dear. Put a big bar on it. There we go. Is it going to shear off or is it going to come off? That's really tight. There's one. Try it over here. It's not as bad. Won't touch the drill, won't touch it. And this is the last one, nearly off. Now, will this lift off? Now I need to unbolt these ones here. Not so bad. Now, I need to remember the motor bit goes beside the element. Okay, will it come off now? Yeah, that's a big heavy piece of cast iron. And this is all we're interested in, really. This is where the bearings are. So this is where the bearings are. This is the seal, the water seal. It might just pop out in my hand. That bearing doesn't feel bad. There's a bit of snot in there, whatever that is. Put it in with those bits from the spider. It shouldn't be too hard to get this out though. It looks nice and easy to do. So I'll start from the other side. Try drifting it out, and then I'll try drifting the far away bearing that you can see in the center there. I'll try drifting that out, then I'll try drifting back this way and take out the seal at the same time as the bearing. So here's the new parts. There's the seal, and it's got this push-in piece on the back, so I wonder if I could pop it out first with a screwdriver. Maybe. Or like this. Like that, yep, just pop straight out. And I think that seal is probably in okay condition, you know. Now there's a lot of grease in there, and that didn't come from nowhere. So let's just check that the bearings are the right size that I've been given. Yeah, they look pretty good. But this grease may have escaped from this bearing, because it looks like it has. So I'll give that a wipe. Because if the bearing was bad, it's this bearing that was bad. Let's see. It doesn't feel bad. It feels fine, but we're in now, so might as well keep going. So I've got a bar to drift the bearing out with and a hammer. I'm just going to reach in with the bar. That's it. You'll see it coming out here now. There it is, it came out quite nicely there. I'll do the same from the other side. came out quite smoothly too. Doesn't seem to have done any damage getting it out, which is unusual. Now, I did feel, yeah, this one, that is loose. Let's just compare it to the new one. Well, the new one's quite loose as well, you know. I don't know then. Let's just see what numbers are on these old bearings, because that's good to know as well, in case you need to replace them. SKF 6205 and SKF Italy 6203. So then I'll clean this out with the rag. We push the new ones in. There's no spacer in between, so there's nothing difficult about it really. I've realised I'm just rubbing dirt into everything else now. And it's quite important as well. If you can see here, there's a drain out hole in the bottom, and that means that any water that gets in past the seal can drain out before it hits the bearing. And sometimes you'll see on machines that have really bad bearings, there'll be brown sludge all down the back of it because that's blocked up and things leaked and it's all gone wrong. Now, I get our new bearings, put them in place. So that's gone down as far as the first lip where the oil seal sits. Get the old ones. I'm not hitting it on the center, I'm only hitting it around the edge. You'll have heard the sound change there, and that's probably right. And I'll put the other bearing in before I put the water seal back in. A little bit on each side. You can put the bearings in the freezer if you want. I've never bothered with that. And there's the sound change. Okay. And then this should just press in by hand, nice and easy. That's it. Now all we have to do is just everything in reverse again. Easy peasy, hey? So it is just a matter of putting it back together. It sounds really easy. Let's see if it is. Line it up with the motor bit at the bottom. So it looks like a good idea to leave them all a bit loose until you get the last one in, just to give a bit of play. Then you can nip them up. Now, that should all be in order. What I think I'm going to do this time is put the drum back in, take the ballast off the front cover, put the front cover back on and put those clips on. I think that's going to be a lot easier than trying to do it later. So it should be a simple matter now just to slide this in. Easy peasy, I say. That's it. I'll fit this pulley back on here. Screw that held it on. I'll just tighten that up a bit. That's good. This has a bit of a different shape to it, so it should only go on in one direction, like that. Just gonna pop on all around. There's a rubber seal in there that I didn't check. I'm not going to. So then these snaps, if I can remember how to do it, hook on over or they hook through these holes, I think. No, I'm guessing they don't then. Okay. Just hook around the back and snap on, which is very easy. Right, so let's get it back into the box. So we need to get it up on the springs. So I need to get it up on this spring. I'll lie it to myself. Try to pull this up a bit. And not damage the circuit board, which it seems to be wanting to rest on. I'll have to lay it down. So I've got it on its side instead. Hook that spring in. Maybe it's easy just to leave it on its side like this and try and get it from here. Oops, lost the spring. There we go. The springs are in. So I'll take this pressure hose here and push it back up with a pressure sensor. So it goes up along here to this pressure sensor. That's back in. I'm going to get this hose back on. Okay, it's back on. There's hoses underneath. So first of all, up here, get this soap drawer back into position. It just pushes in, that's okay. This fascia's got to go back on. Come off to go back on, I think. Put that up on top. Go. What's this clip onto? There we go. Is that stuck? There we go. All right. This one goes on to the bottom of here, and this one goes in here. I need a bigger pliers. So down the bottom we've got this one. There we go. Okay, and this one's all right. Hasn't moved. This one up here is next. Of course that thing's going to get in my way and your way. not on right. I need to pull that clip down a bit. Happy with that. Thermostat underneath. So this thermostat cable has got to go back on underneath. And I just want to snap into these things again. And then around the back. Clips in here. And hopefully that won't fall out. Should just snap in there like that. And hopefully it won't fall out now that I've broken the clip off it. And this wire. A bit of space. There we go. Push in. What's that? That's in place there, so that's okay. Shock absorbers maybe next. I think I'll do both of them from the front this time. So I just gotta line up the shocker and the tub. It's not hard to do. Oh, these have the strange. Okay, so one has to go from the front and one has to go from the back. That's very strange. So this one's from the back. That in place, and the other side will be from the front then, for some weird reason. There it is, and I'll just screw that in now, nothing to see. So next up is to fit the door seal, and that will be easier with the concrete ballast off, but not completely necessary to do that. So first of all, I'm going to fit this little plug. So first of all, I'm going to fit this plug up on top, and to do that, I'll put the little clip in, wiggle that in place. It's not going to go, so a little bit of moisture can help it on. And it does. Bring up this clip. There we go. And my gloves are filthy, so I don't filthy this up. I shall leave it off now. Because I've put that hose on first, I need to put this thing around it, and then just hook it on all around. And watch out, because the metal can be really sharp. That's it on. Just make sure you're in here. Just make sure the drain is at the bottom. And put that seal in there. Bring it around so that it's up here actually, because that's where it was easier to get out in case I don't want to do the ballast on it again. Tighten it up. Tighten it up with an electric screwdriver. I wonder if there's any metal left in that, but that's tight enough. Is it? I believe so. Is that trying to come off there? Look, yeah, it is. Back it off, do it again. Why is it wanting to come off? That's weird. Keep it pushed in. That's enough, I think. Okay. Once the ballast goes on, this will all drop down, but of course the ballast can't go on because I've put this little rubber thing on top, so take it off again. Silly boy. There we go. ballast is heavy and it'll pull the whole thing down once it goes on. But to get it on, it's going to be fun. Right. There we go. Just tighten them up. Now I put this back on again. I think we're ready to put the front back on now. Hook that underneath, hook that up. Battery card on. Put it down so that it fits. Okay. That's it, it just fits. Couple of screws on the door lock. Okay, and then we're ready to do this door seal. So, where's my wire? Let's just get the seal, pull it through, all around if we can. So it's got this lip, you've got to hook the lip over and work it all the way around. I've seen people do this by putting in a piece of string and pull that around, but as far as I'm concerned, you spend as long putting the string in as you do getting this on here. Keep working it all the way around. Now I can see that there's a weird twist in it, so I'm going to just check that before I clip it on. So just ease it over the edge with your fingers. Bit of wiggling, bit of forcing. it's on the whole way around. And the spring was hiding down here, I think, before, so I'll put it back where it was. Just bring that one side of the spring in, and then the other side, hold it with your thumb, get a screwdriver, and oops, didn't work. Strange. Okay, so it's on all the way around. The wire in as far around as it will go. I'll keep the spring in. That's the door seal back on, good and tight. Door locks on. Just close that and check the operation. Yep, it works fine. That's good. Excellent. And the fascia. So I've just checked that that was lining up because it had twisted a bit. It just all pushes in. Perfect. And some screws. That's the front back on. And snap this back on as well. And give it a twist here. Okay. And I was doing the bearings on the machine. I thought it'd be a good time to just take it out and blow all the carbon dust out of it with a air compressor. So I've done that, and I'm just going to check these brushes in here. So I need something small and pokey. This machine gets a lot of use, and they've still got life left in them, but they're about halfway down. So I've got some spare ones. But I've got some spare ones, so I might as well just replace them instead of waiting for it to wear out. So I'll put the new one in. It's got a bevel on it, and the bevel corresponds to the angle here, rubbing off the commutator. So you put them in like that, so it hits the commutator at a tangent, if that makes sense. Slide it in. It should slide freely. If it doesn't, you've got a problem with your brush holder. It's a different issue. This is the hardest bit, squeezing this spring down. You can do it with your eyes closed, it's almost easier. You just need to kind of mush it all in. Feel that's all gone in. Get that bit in there. Come on, in you go. It's always harder on a new brush as well because there's more brush in there for the spring to be in the way of the spring compressing. Slide that in. Clip it down and then slide it back again. With the screwdriver, hold it on the other side and slide the brush thing on until it clicks, and it hasn't clicked yet. There it is, and the little tab will pop up. So do it again. We'll zoom in a bit. So to get this brush off, just push down the tab on the spade connector and pull it back. Pull the wire aside, push the brush tab in, let it pop up, pull it back out, lift it clear, get a new brush, slide it in with the angle correct. So in this case it's this way. Push it all the way down. It's harder when it's new. It pops out again. see anything there, but get it in at an angle to get that spring compressed, slide it in, and then slide it back, put that on like that, and you're back in business. It's how to change the brushes on, I think, almost any Bosch washing machine that has a brushed commutator motor. They're all the same, even if the motor doesn't look like this. So I've given the motor a spray with compressed air. I'm trying to get it back in underneath, slide that in like that. Then there's 2 screws. One goes in here from behind. Don't tighten it yet. And this one goes in here. Equally, don't tighten it yet. Yeah, so I've put new brushes on and I've blown it out with compressed air because sometimes I've had an earth failure. So there's a short circuit going on within the motor and I attribute that to the carbon dust. So blowing it out with compressed air cleans it out, I believe. Now, do you remember which one was which, black and purple? I don't. And I don't think it makes any difference. So slide that cover back on. I'm guessing they go that way around because it feels about right. They're quite tight. Okay, snap that shut. Earth cable goes on beneath. This earth cable goes on here. This motor connector goes on below. That's that. Now, I'm not sure that those wires are meant to hang like that over the top there, so all I'll do is got some cable ties. I'll just tie them together somewhere like this. Okay, and put the belt back on. It's slightly different to modern machines because modern machines have no flexibility in the motor. Whereas with this one, you can loosen it. And then you have to put on your own tension, which is quite different. So I've got a screwdriver in there, get a bit of tension on. How much tension is anybody's guess. Tighten that up and then tighten up this one in here. There we go. And put the back cover back on. And don't forget this little thing that came off here. So I'll do one of these here. It goes in and snaps down. So it's all back together. New door seal, new bearings, and new brushes in the motor. Got some of the dirty rags I used in the wash in there. Close that, turn it on. I might as well leave it higher water level. I just want to give it a short wash of some description. I'll give it a 40 cotton. Hopefully it won't leak. Hopefully everything will seem to work. So water should come in now. The water is on. Yeah, that's good. Door light's gone on. Motor should turn in a second. And once that happens, I'll come back when it's spinning and we'll just have a listen to the sound of it. Well, it's definitely got the motor working, so we'll see what the spin sounds like, see if it makes any difference at all. It's got quite an unbalanced load in it, so I'm not too worried about the jumping about of it there. I can't tell if the bearings sound any different, but the door seal is definitely better. So there's a new door seal, no leaks, no drips, everything's back together properly. And so there it is, that's the bearings replaced in this Bosch machine. It's very hard to know if it's quieter now because it's very hard to get an objective measurement of sound with an iPhone. So it's more of an all-round service, doing the brushes, the bearings and the door seal, prompted by the door seal, and when I'm in there I'll do a bit more. The door seal cost about £12.95 and I have a feeling the bearings cost a similar amount, maybe 15 quid. The brushes I've had in the garage for a while now, I buy them a few at a time, but they're £2 or £3 a pair, which is pretty cheap. So I've spent about 30 quid thereabouts on this machine today and a good few hours time on it. It's nice to be able to fix something rather than just, you know, destroy it, and that is my aim in life, is to keep these things going. And you can see I've got these two machines, and these are the ones that I use every day. Some of them get used more than once a day, and they've lasted, this one's lasted me 8 years now. It's had the brushes done maybe 2 or 3 times. I think it's had a new motor, it's had 2 new door seals, now it's had the bearings. It's a great machine. I'm very happy with it. Questions or comments, leave them below.
Thanks for watching, see you later.